Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Forex crisis, Bureau de change to recapitalize, reapply in CBN reform plan. Government labor shifts grounds in minimum wage talks. Present for Debbie's inauguration. 60 Nigerian students sent out of UK after expulsion from varsity. Tinubu in support of autonomy for council, says Akume. How 386 were rescued from Sambisa. Judges okay end of election petition before inauguration. And Emir of Kano Bayero hails Awujale's leadership style. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I can start with labor. So the federal government and organized labor shifted grounds at the ongoing minimum wage talks yesterday. The resumed discussion, the federal government had added 3,000 naira to the 54,000 naira they offered on Tuesday as monthly wage. And, that took it to 57,000 naira. Labor for the first time also had to, renegotiate and reduce their own demand to 497,000 naira during the discussion. So a source at the meeting said that the government offered the 57,000, labor kicked and came down to 497,000. Now, the government has been saying that there's no availability of fund, and they're also talking about how the private sector may not be able to pay this amount of money that Labour was proposing. So the source said that the government offer was presented by the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Mrs. Nkiruka Onyejocha, but that the governors were not present at yesterday's meeting. They were supposed to be present at the meeting so that they can follow up on what is happening, especially with their states. However, the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodimma, who was also chairman of the APC Congress, showed up at the meeting. So at the end of the day, they had just a few governors who represented the 6 zones of the country. But negotiations are still ongoing, and they are hoping that they will be able to balance it out.
All right,
yes. I have a group of Nigerian students have been thrown off university courses and have been ordered to leave the United Kingdom after they struggled to pay tuition fees on time. They say Teesside university students have said that the devaluation of the naira has made it difficult for them to pay their tuition fees, leading to a breach of visa sponsorship requirements. So from most of the stories, they got a few people who were willing to talk. 60 of them, were willing to also give their names and talk about it. They say that the school has made it, is unwilling to come to a sort of, arrangement with them, There was one person who says he's paid £14,000 already. There's still 14,000 left. He's working hard trying to raise the 14,000 just for him to wake up one day and find out that he's been thrown off his course after having been for like the whole semester and has been asked to leave the UK. Another person says she's paid 90% of her fees already. There's just 10% left. And she's been going to school. She's an active student, and the school is unwilling to sit with them. But on the other hand, the school says we have actually had conversations with those who have reached out to us asking for some sort of revised payment plan. It says, but still, some people were not even able to meet the revised payment plan, and they've been asked to leave the UK is not really on them. It's just part of the visa requirement. So if they're unable to pay the fees, so they are unable to be in school, so they have no reason being in the UK. So I feel that for those who have paid as much as 90%, 80%, I don't know if there's a way our government can come in here to see how they can give, not pay, how that the schools can give them like a period or some sort of revised payment schedule for them to pay.
I'm not sure government can do that because the private universities and these are universities.
No, they can appeal on their behalf.
They can.
They're Nigerians, aren't they? Yeah, they can appeal on their. They've paid 90%.
Okay. We're not saying they should pay. We're saying sit down with this conscience.
Okay, next last story.
Okay, so President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in support of autonomy for local governments. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, said yesterday. So according to him, the federal government will do its best to give effect to this idea. He also said that the president has a commitment to uphold the rule of law. the tenet of federalism, the constitution and autonomy of local government. He said on the need for national dialogue for local government autonomy, I think that the National Assembly has done quite a lot on that issue, because the grassroots feel that they should have access to their own budget for them to be able to reach the communities better. He also said that the present government is also supportive of that and believe and strongly too that they will continue to improve the questions of local government because they are really pushing on that, and that it is that in a typical federal setup, You have 3 tiers of government, and those 3 tiers of government should be independent, especially when the former administration also pushed for the same thing, although much wasn't done. But they are really willing to do that because they can see the challenges, the grassroots, especially local government, which is closer to the people they are facing right now as regards that.
So there was a workshop yesterday by the Court of Appeal on the review of the 2023 election petition tribunals, and they came up with a few new rules. It says that electoral disputes should be decided before swearing in. Judicial officers involved in election petition suggested yesterday. They said all pre- and post-elections disputes should terminate at the Court of Appeals. They also said that where a deputy governor is disqualified for different reasons, his disqualification shouldn't affect the governor who actually had the ticket. You know, before, once your deputy gets disqualified, there's the potential that both the ticket, there was a joint ticket, both of you are disqualified for election. So they're saying now going forward that if your deputy gets disqualified for different reasons, it doesn't affect the governor. So they reviewed the election petition matters, and they're hoping that this would actually make petitions faster going forward. So all disputes must end before swearing in going forward for all elections. Okay, moving on quickly now to the Punch. First anniversary, Tinubu directs 47 ministers to showcase scorecards. I'm not sure if Adelabu is in that list. FG canvasses regional military force to counter coup threats. Guest dies during Lagos birthday celebration host held. Forex, 200 bureau de change operators arrested. FG, federal government, EFCC alleges fraud. Reps want seized property converted to government offices. Electricity subsidy gulps 629 billion naira as discos generate 1.1 trillion. Bureau de change agents reject new CBN licensing guidelines. Okay, which story?
Major headlines. So, in commemoration of the first anniversary in office of President Bola Tinubu, he's directed his ministers to present their performance reports to Nigerians. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, during a press briefing in Abuja, had said that, first of all, the anniversary will be a low-key event, but what they would have would be meetings and briefings by ministers on what, how well they've done over the years. So if you remember, November 2023, this particular administration has said that they had a retreat, and they said that all ministers, aides, perms, secs, government appointees and functionaries would give a report of what they've done so far in office, and this is going to be reviewed quarterly. So we're about to see the very first one, and we have the Hadiza Bala Usman. She's the one that has the CDCU. I call her the class monitor of the ministers. So we're going to be hearing from them what they've done. She says that it will involve, of course, what government has given them to work with, and also private citizens as well. We're able to make an input to say, okay, this is what we've seen this minister do or hasn't done, and they are also able to defend or not defend what they have done or not.
All right, let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.